Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our third and final installment of our holiday concerts. It's been a great week here in the Canfield school systems. We started back on Tuesday evening at the middle school gymnasium with our fifth graders and our symphonic band members from the marching band, and we included some drumline people and filled it out with a few others. And that was a wonderful concert because on Tuesday night we got to see the very, very beginning with the fifth graders and then the very ending with the marching band kids. And it was a wonderful night. Packed audience. The bleachers at the middle school were filled, very, very well received. It was awesome. And then last night, here in the high school auditorium, we had our concert with our 6th grade band, 7th grade band, and the high school concert band. And that was really neat because you got to see kind of the middle of the program with those youngsters playing. And we did a combined number at the end of the concert with the 7th grade band and concert band. And again, that was very, very well received. It's our second year doing this format, and those kids had a wonderful, wonderful time. And I got plenty of emails today from parents that were really excited about how their kids enjoyed that and so forth. One mom said her son went home and was practicing his trumpet all the way till bedtime last night. He was so inspired by the high school concert band. So it's doing what we want it to do by doing this format with the concerts. And then this evening, we have together with us our 8th grade band and our high school symphonic band. And it's kind of like the both ends once again. We have the 8th graders who are, in a sense, playing their, what would this be, your final holiday concert in the middle school, right, as 8th graders. Then they're going to be moving on. And our symphonic band senior members are playing their final holiday concert of their senior year. So we have 8th graders who are going to be graduating up to high school next year, and our senior class will be moving on to bigger and better things. So it's kind of the ends here for everybody. So we're going to begin our tonight's concert with our 8th grade band. They're playing a tune called Christmas Spectacular, and we're going to have our student teacher, Mr. Johnny Johnson from the University of Akron, who will be graduating this coming Saturday. He's going to conduct our first number. And for those of you that don't know anything about Mr. Johnson, he started with us way back on July 27th when marching band camp was just getting ready to start and do that whole process with August band camp and so forth. So he's been here a long time, put in many, many hours, and even more miles because I think he was commuting in from the Canton area every day. So he's been working with the kids all in an entire music program, grades 5 through 12, and his time is coming to an end here. Actually, tonight will be his final concert, and this is it. He won't be back tomorrow, so we'll be saying his goodbyes to him this evening at the cookie reception. But I'd like to have you give a nice warm round of applause, please, for Johnny Johnson, our student teacher. The next selection we're going to perform for you is entitled Winter Wonderland, and we really changed styles in this piece. It's a swing tune, lots of jazz rhythms and swing eighth notes and so forth, and so we hope you enjoy Winter Wonderland. One, two, three, four. The next song we're going to perform for you is a beautiful ballad. It's by the Carpenters, and those of you who maybe are my age or so, we grew up with the Carpenters in that era, and I loved the Carpenters back in that era. Beautiful, beautiful singers, and I loved the way that Karen Carpenter sang. And then it wasn't until I got to college, and I was a saxophone major, and actually my saxophone instructor made me listen to a lot of Karen Carpenter when I was studying saxophone at YSU. He was a firm believer that she had a really pure, beautiful voice, that her phrasing was spectacular, and her vibrato was gorgeous. So I listened to a ton of Karen Carpenter, and I've always loved this Christmas song and found a beautiful arrangement of Merry Christmas, Darling. So we hope you enjoy that rendition of it. Next, we're going to feature our flute section on a nice little beautiful tune called Greensleeves. And at this time of the year, a lot of you will recognize it as What Child Is This? I think you'd agree that's some very beautiful flute playing for 8th grade, right? How about another round of applause for the 8th grade flutes? I'll just go out on a limb here. I know I'm a little bit biased, of course, but I bet you can't find an 8th grade flute section within 50 miles of here that can sound like that. So congratulations, flutes. Fabulous. Very nice. So, this 8th grade band, I know some of the times we look at it this year in particular, and we're thinking as parents, and even the kids I hear talk about it all the time. Oh, man, we're so small, Gee whiz, we're 35 kids only. But I have to tell you, from where we were at 5th grade to where we are today, it's amazing what these kids have accomplished. Yes, we've lost some kids along the way, but we've got the best 35 8th graders in the program from top to bottom, and I'm so proud of these kids. They're doing great. They all play really, really well, and I'm certainly hoping that each one of them continues on in the high school band. We have no dead weight, so to speak of, right? You hear about, your weakest link and so forth, and you're only as good as your weakest link. There isn't anybody in this band. Like I say, we've got the best 35 kids who started back in 5th grade that are still with us. So I hope they continue on. And you're going to hear a little bit later this evening when they play their combined number with the symphonic band kids. I hope from where you're sitting, you get to see the eyes of your child, how they light up when they get to play with the high school kids, because that's truly, truly amazing. We got to do it back in the fall with the football game in October, and I know that was a great experience. And after that weekend, they came back to school Monday, and they were all pumped up from being in the band show with the high school kids during that game and so forth. I hope tonight has the same impact on them, and that'll be something that will last with them for a very, very long time. And so we're talking about how great the kids sound, the flute section, and all the band, and how proud I am of them. But you know, this doesn't happen, certainly not by me, by myself, that's for sure. Obviously, they have to do a lot of hard work at home. It takes great parental support for you guys to encourage your kids to be in music, and you see the value of it. And then next, we are so blessed here in Canfield that we have a paraprofessional staff that works with us on a weekly basis. So I know some of those folks are in the audience tonight, and I know they're listed in your program, but I would like to mention them. If you can just wait till the ending, and we'll give them all a nice round of applause. Working with our flutes is Mrs. Volnick. Working with our clarinets is Mr. Colella. Working with our trumpets is Mr. Rollo. And Mr. Fay comes up and works with our, not so much the 7th and 8th graders because his schedule doesn't permit it, but he does work with us with our 5th and 6th graders, with the low brass players, and Mr. Drevna on percussion. So how about a nice round of applause for our parapros? We were very fortunate this year to hire a new parapro that I'd like to introduce to you at this time. This is her first time being with us this year. She was hired at the November board meeting, and so she's been working with the kids for about a month, and I know she's working with the 7th and 8th grade French horn players at the middle school and comes up to the high school, I believe, and works with Mr. Kelly's French horn section here at the high school. She's actually sitting in with our French horns this evening, and I'd like to introduce for the first time our newest parapro, Mrs. Laura McCara, French horn parapro. And I know it's listed in your program, but I'm going to have a couple students stand and be recognized for some special honors that have actually taken place during this early fall season that we've had. Back in November, we had some students who participated in the District 5 Middle School Honors Band down at Stambaugh Auditorium. And I'll read their names. They're in the program, but I'd like for these folks to stand when you hear your name called, and we can recognize you guys. As soon as I find you here in the program where it is. I should have this memorized. Let's see. Well, I'll just do it from memory. I can't find it right now. We had Maddie Edwards on clarinet. Emily Haino represented us on flute. Sam Wogan was on baritone. Harrison Miller on trombone. And Owen Dorenzo on tuba. So a nice round of applause for these kids representing Canfield. And I do need to make one other special announcement. There was an omission from the program that was brought to my attention last night. And this is because normally we don't have 8th graders who make the Henry Stambaugh Band, which rehearses down at Stambaugh Auditorium on a weekly basis. That's usually 9th through 12th graders from Ohio and Western PA. But we do have an 8th grader this year who is in the Henry Stambaugh Band, and I'd like to recognize Harrison Miller for that. And sorry that he was omitted from the program. Congratulations, Harrison. All right, we're going to finish the 8th grade portion of the concert with a tune entitled "'Tis the Season." It's a variations on "Deck the Halls," and by far our most challenging piece, so this requires the kids to really be on their A game. We hope you enjoy "'Tis the Season." And before we play, I do have to recognize our 2 high school students who are sitting in with us on this tune. It calls for lots of percussion players, and we didn't have enough percussion players in the 8th grade band to actually fill out all the parts, so I contacted Mr. Kelly and said, hey, could you send up 2 high school kids to rehearse with us a couple times to learn the mallet parts so we could rehearse with them. So I'd like to recognize senior Ben Janik and sophomore Chris Smallwood, who are helping out on the mallet percussion part. So thank you, guys.
Good evening. Welcome again to our holiday concerts. Like Mr. Volnick said, it's our last of 3 nights. They've been a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, but also a lot of fun. Like Mr. Volnick said, we did this format last year, and we really think it's really beneficial for our program. We don't do it any other time of the year, and we just feel it's a really good time to do this, to showcase our program 5 through 12. It also gives the high schoolers, although what you're going to hear tonight may not sound that way, a little bit of a break with learning repertoire, because we've just come off of 10 weeks of a marching band season plus 5 weeks in the summer, and many times here at Canfield we have this great tradition that the football team goes on to the playoffs, and so our weeks are extended, so we don't get into that concert season sometimes mid November full steam. So we kind of thought, hey, it'll give us a break, especially with our younger group that played last night. But certainly the program you'll hear these folks play tonight won't sound like that at all. I want to congratulate the 8th grade band. That was just spectacular, because I know you guys are working really hard. We had a lot of fun in this October when you came out and played with the marching band, and I had a lot of fun getting to meet you guys, and I'm really looking forward to conducting a little bit later and then having you guys up in the high school band. So just a couple housekeeping things, because once we get started, we're going to kind of keep it rolling. First of all, I want to thank Canfield Band alum Jeff Menser. Jeff does all our lighting and does the lighting design and helps us out with the sound every year. And I want to thank a colleague here at the high school, George Malich Jr. You all know George, whether you know him personally, but see him or not. But George is responsible for the majority of the graphics you see in the community on our website. You'll see him on our sign eventually, the beautiful new sign we got. If you go on Friday nights and you watch that promo video, George is responsible for that. So he's here. He's been here the last 2 nights recording for our TV channel, so you can check out our video there. And I also want to thank Dr. Sethi, who you'll meet here in a second. He runs our Canfield Band YouTube channel. I don't know if you know, we have a YouTube channel where you can kind of go see all the marching band shows, and you can see the concerts too. So just go to YouTube, type in Canfield Bands, and you'll be able to watch. I think for the last 2 or 3 years he's put those up. So we want to certainly thank him for doing that. I also want to thank, we have our 2 head principals at the middle school and the high school, Mr. Judd Rubin from the middle school and Mr. Michael Moldovan. They're here this evening. We want to thank them for being here and taking time out of their schedules to be with us. So glad you're here. I hope you have a great holiday season. And we're going to kick things off by introducing Mrs. Joni Comport. She's the president of our Canfield Band Parents Organization. And Dr. Manu Sethi, he is the vice president. They're just going to say a quick words about the organization and what it means to be involved with the Canfield Bands.
Hello and happy holidays. I just want to take a couple minutes to talk a little bit about the Canfield Band Parents. We're the group that supports the band program, grades 5 through 12. And a couple things that I want to talk to you about or remind you of. We meet every month, the 3rd Tuesday. We meet at 6:30 here in the Canfield Band High School room. And we'd love for you to join us. The other thing that I want to remind you of is our biggest fundraiser is right around the corner. I know saying February is right around the corner is kind of scary, but February 29th, and we've already started our preparations for that. If you notice in the program, there's a form in there that is for donations. So if you would be able to drop some of those off at some businesses and get some donations, we would really appreciate that. You can also sign up for the volunteering if you go to the band website, and that will allow you to help us out. We need as much help as possible, so we hope to see all of you at the pasta dinner and Chinese auction. And the other thing that I want to talk about a little bit is the volunteering. My son Josh is a senior, so this is our last holiday concert. And I have to tell you that I've truly enjoyed working with this organization over the last several years and really encourage you to do the same. So please take some time to look at that volunteer form and sign up to help us out. Thank you.
Good evening. I just wanted to make a few quick points. First of all, on behalf of my wife Sangeetha and I, we want to thank all of our individual and corporate donors to our annual Friends of the Canfield Band campaign. We truly are grateful for all your support for our 5th through 12th grade band programs. The list of our sponsors are included in our program this evening. Second, I just wanted to say that being a part of the Canfield Bands, I know, comes with its own level of commitment. And sometimes I feel like there is the potential that some people believe that when our children are involved with the band, that they may not be able to be involved with any other extracurricular activity. And I do believe that's simply not the case. In fact, just as an example, with members of the symphonic band here on stage, if I could just make a case in point, those of you that are involved in a sport, any sport, whether it's school-related or not, fall, winter, spring, summer, could you please stand? Those of you involved in speech and debate, could you please stand? And those of you involved in drama or choir, please stand. As you can see, our kids that are involved in the band program are also involved in a lot of other extracurricular activities. And clearly this is not an all-inclusive list, but it really does, I think, drive home the point that these kids are exceptional. And not only do they excel in our band programs, but clearly they can excel in other extracurricular activities at the high school as well. Thank you very much. Lastly, I just want to quickly say a couple of comments about music education advocacy. Hopefully all of us here can appreciate some of the many benefits that our children have acquired by being a part of the 5th through 12th band programs. Mr. Kelly has mentioned several of these and highlighted them in his letter and recent email to us. One of the facts that I really wanted to drive home was the fact that if you look at the top graduates from Canfield High School over the last few years, the majority of those students were involved in the Canfield bands. And this is no accident. The advantages and the skills that our children acquire from being a part of our band programs stays with them much beyond their time here at Canfield. And it's something to truly support and I think celebrate. Please be the advocate for your children's music education. Please talk to your family, your relatives, your friends, your kids' teachers, principals, administrators, our superintendent, members of our Board of Education, and people in our community. Tell them all the wonderful things that our band programs do, not only for our kids, but for the community in general. It's not only important to maintain the excellence of our program to support this, but it's also important for the vitality of our programs. Thank you very much for your time. Best wishes for the holiday season, and hope you have a safe one.
Thank you. So our first two pieces, we're going to kick off with a tune by a composer who lives in nearby Pittsburgh, Sam Hazo. In this time of the year, we all feel like we're rushing around. We all feel like the holiday season bears down on us, and we're constantly in this rush. We rush out to the mall. We rush to the in-laws, the outlaws, the bylaws, these laws. We're rushing to get our presents and our shopping done. We rush to wrap before the kids wake up. So while it's not a Christmas song, I thought it was very appropriate because this piece, Rush, has moments of agitation and angst, but then it has some really nice, beautiful, relaxed moments. And you'll hear that throughout the piece. And I think that's kind of like all of us at this time of the year, right? We're rushing and we're agitated at times, but at other times we feel joy, we feel happiness. And so this piece is a dualism of those two things. Then our second piece was actually not written for band originally. It's based on a poem by James Agee. And then the American composer Samuel Barber wrote it for choir. And there's many, many beautiful renditions of it, but this one is by Samuel Barber. And then Richard Saucedo, who a lot of the kids in the band 2 years ago got to work with him up at the University of Akron, did this really beautiful arrangement. And I asked Junior Hayden Nottingham to read the poem to you right before we play the tune. So I hope you enjoy our first two selections with the symphonic band.
Sure on this shining night, of star-made shadows round, kindness must watch for me, this side the ground. The late year lies down the north, all is healed, all is health. High summer holds the earth, hearts all whole. Sure on this shining night, I weep for wonder, wandering far alone of shadows on the stars.
Wasn't that beautiful? Yeah, high school kids, teenagers. The next two, you've heard a lot of medleys tonight. This is one of those medleys we like to recycle every 4 years or so. It's very different than what you're used to hearing. It's by a composer out from California named Gary Gilroy, and he uses a lot of different musical textures. So we talk in band about, in art there's textures. Well, in music there's texture. It's sonic, it's sound. And you'll hear a lot of that in the different woodwind and brass sonorities, but you also hear a lot of textures through the plethora of percussion instruments you'll hear from the back row. And it's built on a variety of Christmas songs that I'm sure you all recognize. Here's Gary Gilroy's A Christmas Legends. Horns, stand up. Stand up. Saxophones, stand up. Everybody else, ready? Up. Sit down. Sleigh Ride. Okay, if you're not a senior, exit. If you thought Sleigh Ride was fun, you'll really love this. This is a mashup, and I thought that was really appropriate since our marching band show this year was called a classical mashup. But this is a mashup of Christmas songs that you know and love, mixed in with Jacques Offenbach's Can Can from the opera Orpheus in the Underworld. And that's all fancy talk, but when you hear it, all of you will recognize it. So we hope you enjoy it. We just threw this together for about 5 minutes before you walked in. 8th graders sound awesome. Joining them are our seniors. And I forgot to do this last night. I feel remiss, but we have 4 seniors in our concert band that I neglected to recognize last night. But I would like our seniors, it's not like you can't pick them out, but I'm going to have them stand to be recognized, and I'm going to let you know that the band parents have a small gift for you out in the cafeteria, okay? So if we have our seniors stand up, and give them a round of applause. And certainly we want to invite you on your way out. We'll have some students collecting free will donations for our sheet music fund. If you feel so inclined to give, we would appreciate it. But we're going to carry on the festivities out in the cafeteria with cookies, carols, and cocoa. So the cookies and cocoa, self-explanatory. The carols will be provided by our jazz band here at the high school. So on behalf of Mr. Volnick, and the Canfield bands 5 through 12, I want to wish you a blessed Merry Christmas and a wonderful holiday season. And we look forward to seeing you at our pasta dinner, which will be our next main event. So here is Christmas Can Can.